Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel, and this is the January 23rd edition, 1982 of All Star Wrestling, and we've got a few more of these before we move on to actually going to catch up with some Superstars of Wrestling, 8 or 9 of those. Then we're starting the Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling Series, starting with 81, running through 86. Probably about 200 of those in total. Looking forward to that, as I've never seen that stuff all the way through and known for being a bit more wrestling heavy. Anyway, hosted by Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson, includes Ivan Putski and Ron Shaw match from the 11682 Championship Wrestling. Not exactly a fan of when they put the Championship Wrestling stuff through here, just in the sense that it's, I don't know, kind of goofy a little bit. Anyway, Adrian Adonis and Jesse Ventura are tag teams here. Ventura wearing a polka dotted outfit there in their tag team foray into superstardom or whatever would have you. Anyway, Ventura and Adonis end up being a tag team in the AWA and managing to do that pretty well. Adonis and Ventura with Freddie Blassie defeating Dominic DeNucci and Jeff Craney at 6:03 when Craney submits to Ventura's backbreaker. After the bout, DeNucci clears the ring. DeNucci, a guy that always seems to be the guy in this era too, put over talent at the time. Ventura takes, I wouldn't say the majority of the match, but is given more than his fair share. Adonis comes in, does more of the wrestling. Ventura does much more walk and talk. Craney doing the majority of the selling because Danucci's a guy who is kind of a guy you want to keep for future runs. Adonis better than average in terms of cutting the ring off on his opponent and getting all he can out of maneuvers. Top rope elbow from Adonis and tries to get what he can out of that. The backbreaker over the back by Ventura gets him the victory. As mentioned, Danucci runs his men off his opponents off the set, including Classy Freddie Blassie in a very deep purple velour style jumpsuit. Then we'll move to the next in the series of matches. This particular contest is the, let's see here. Pedro Morales defeats Pete Mitchell's submission 417 with a Boston Crab. Morales still kind of reeling from the attack on the arena floor from 7 weeks before at the hands of Greg Valentine. Obviously, Valentine and Morales is where they're going as a major program. Shoulder tackles and then takedowns by Morales. Morales then manages to go everywhere he can. Shots under the chin and all of that. Attempted put throughs and pull ups and all of that. Mitchell kind of gets a little bit of brawling tactic there. Doesn't get everything that he would like to have in the match. Shot to the midsection. Kind of a low boiler shot by um, Morales, and again the figure four leg lock. Greg Valentine talks about wanting matches with Pedro Morales, willing to take him on anytime. Basically says, does Valentine, that there's absolutely no reason to take anybody but him seriously for the future of the WWF Championship or the Intercontinental Championship. Then we move to the series, or along in the series of matches. This next contest being the Lorette Souza defeating Tony Colon 410 overhead suplex. Souza's not a guy I know a great deal about, not a guy I'm familiar with terribly. Souza manages a bunch of forearms and basic maneuvers there. Souza, I believe, coming from the Montreal territory, that sounds about right. Takes his man down with a couple of basic moves there, and his opponent takes him down with a kind of a inside toe hold, spinning toe hold type maneuver along the way, and a attempted suplex by Souza. Souza comes down with the vertical suplex, almost like a brain buster, and eventually Souza gets the victory here. We move to the next in the series of matches. Greg Valentine up next, challenging an individual here. Valentine, of course, having become kind of a staple, probably the top heel. I don't know why, but Morocco seems to have disappeared again at this time. Barry Hart in the match there, figure four. Leg lock is the win for Valentine. Not a big surprise there, as Valentine's been using that submission hold to get as much damage on his adversary as possible. Several minutes of working over the leg, kicking to the hamstring, half crabs, punches, kicks, and basic maneuvers. Hammer also with the elbows takes his adversary, actually gets him down for a minute or two with a drop toe hold, but Valentine comes back quickly with the figure four, applying the hold twice in the latter part of the contest, and eventually getting, obviously, in 5 minutes 21 seconds, submission victory. Former tag team champions Tony Garea and Rick Martel are in the ring here, and Estrada is one of the opponents, as always seems to be. Estrada managing to be a thorn in the side of the tag team champions here. Rick Martel, Tony Garea, Danny O'Hannon, and Jose Estrada, their opponents for the day. Garea pins Estrada with a reverse roll-up. Estrada, though, hangs on for a good bit of the early part of the match. Side headlock takeovers and holds on to the body. As always, Garea manages to do the early parts of selling. O'Hannon comes in and does a bit more brawling, whereas Estrada is more a of a technical wrestler to the degree. A couple of punches, and needless to say, when Martel gets in there, he fires up. The heels, though, are in control of the majority of the match. Finally, the roll-up from Garea gets the victory, and the earlier, as mentioned, Ron Shaw and Ivan Putski match closes us off. They get about 4 minutes and change, including the show close. Obviously, Putski manages, shoulder tackles, basic stuff, nothing to write home about. Putski, not exactly a guy who, per se, needs a lot of attention. Gets the Polish hammer and gets the win, does Putski. And we close on that note. We'll be back with more right after this.